Welcome back to more of Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. We're going to be actually continuing the main story this time, but we're starting out in Nalbina town, mostly because I didn't want to risk losing monetization over the Dalmasca Easter Stand music. But anyway, so when I talked to the Technic shop here, a new item appeared in the bazaar. I think this would be from either talking to like any shopkeeper a certain number of times or specifically a Technic shop. It's usually about 20 times, but okay, I'm gonna see if there's any decent, like, weapons or armor over here, but I kind of doubt it. There are also a few hunts that I can pick up in Nalbina town. Yeah, these three. Oh, one of them's, like, right next to me right now. So I'm gonna look for... Yep, that looks like someone. Add an S to your name, and you could be a, navigation assistant in SMT4. Guess trying to weaponize them, maybe? It's an interesting excuse for why that area was blocked off until now. I mean, technically we actually could get in there via the Dalmasca Easter Stand after the ferry starts working, so a little earlier than that. So, Atomos. Sounds like the name of some kind of anime thing, I don't know. And now we have at least one more hunt we can pick up here. No, one of them's there. And that one's in the Highwaste itself. And then there's also Carrot, who I don't actually want to pick up now. Yeah, they're in the aerodrome. I'm going to avoid that, because that's going to put a very, very strong hunt monster in our way in one of the story areas, so... yeah, basically not going to want to go for that just yet. Stonemason, question mark? And yeah, you're the one who has that quest. We can actually help him, but we need to complete some of the hunts around this area first. Morgan. A slightly more varied way of saying Morgan, I guess. Killing a golem for an old man. Roblon, okay. Is this actually in the Deadlands? It's been a while since I actually accepted the posting on the hunt board. Yeah, it's in the Nebraska Deadlands. That's not an area that I'm gonna be dabbling in very much, most likely. I've had my fill of extremely dangerous, high-level areas. And yep, all of the weapons here suck, and all of the armor probably sucks too. There are probably going to be some merchants who might sell some better stuff along the way, though. But I am kind of tempted to see what this Griamore is. Though I'm probably going to have to look up, unless they actually... oh, also I could get poached now. Actually, why not? They might have descriptions of that in the menu. Sage's Monograph. Oh yeah, it actually tells you in the menu descriptions, that's cool. So, Sage's Monograph, oh, superior loot from Elementals. Yeah, Elementals, I'm still not particularly keen on fighting Elementals at this point. But anyway, we're gonna head through here and go to the Mosphoran Highwaste. Starfruit just makes me think of the Staffberry from Pokemon Gen 3. Okay, good, we're liberating ourselves before heading out. Let's move! We have already been here briefly when I stumbled into it during that ill-fated NPC massacre earlier. This music, I kind of consider the de facto theme of this game. Also, I have a Gambit on Balthier to steal from enemies with full HP, so that he's not just trying to spam, Throat Wolf Blood actually sounds kind of horrifying, but, so he's not trying to spam, steal on enemies, like, all fight, but Steel Polems, that's like an actual accessory, isn't it? Move safely past traps. But right now, only Ash can use those. I need to get better accessory licenses. might actually help, but yeah, this area's music, basically what I consider the de facto theme of Final Fantasy XII. In fact, there's quite a lot of nods to like elements of this song in other tracks. Just love the kind of march style tone of this. It just really makes you feel like you're on your way to some kind of epic quest or something. And that is passive, however, I'm gonna fight it anyway because it's pretty much on my level. I would say it's way weaker than me, but actually, not really. Fran's got that hand-holding arrow. I'm just appreciating this song. In Revenant Wings, the sort of sequel to this game on the DS, it's a very strange game. It's sort of a kind of RTS with the stylus, and you use espers, like minor espers, for pretty much all of your combat in that game. And also one of the espers that's a major summon in this game is actually like a... I'll talk about that later, but it's actually like a rank 2 esper, which means that you can have multiple of them on your team at once. Yeah, Vaan has the evade tank set up, which means his actual damage is pretty low for this point, but we're fighting weaker enemies, and I kind of wanted to just try out the evade tank setup just for a little bit. But anyway, in Revenant Wings, this music was the essentially battle preparations theme of that game, so it got a lot more presence in that one. Got a lot more presence. I was about to say, like, featuring focus. Got a lot more focus might be a better way to say it. Got a lot more presence. Got a lot of featuring. Wary Wolf. That seems like I almost called it a unique monster. It seems like a rare game. And you probably want to try and steal from rare game whenever possible. So in fact, I'm actually going to manually tell Balthier to steal because he has the Thief's Cuffs, which seem to double the chances of basically everything. Don't know what, like, the exact chances of, like, I know what the chances of getting individual items from stealing are, but I'm not actually sure what the chances of steal missing outright are. Because they seem to be pretty high against this thing. We are seriously losing out on chances to actually steal from this. So very well, I mean, it makes sense. It's a wary wolf. It keeps a good eye on its possessions. Oh, it would be kind of amazing if Vaan actually succeeded in stealing from it after Balthier failed so many times, but seems that was not the case. We also have these little, like, ruin-type structures that are actually reminding me a lot of the Road to Ruin from Crash Bandicoot 2. Oh, there's either something to examine or a chest around here that I didn't see. Oh, it's on the other side of this rock formation. That's why. Thought for a second it was like something that I could jump down, but no, it's just on the other side of the rocks. High potion. Okay, is that like a better katana or something? It is. Does lower my evade rate quite a bit, and honestly, if I'm going to be using a weapon that isn't the evade tank setup, I might as well use this. It's got almost guaranteed chances of slow on anything it hits, and it's stronger. Still love this part of the song. After I've gone through this area, I'm just going to quickly look up the wiki to see if it has any info on the Wary Wolf. Whether it actually is something, or if it's, or how I spawned it. Okay, so it just has a 7% chance of replacing any Worgens on this screen. And given how many Worgens there are, it kind of makes sense that it showed up there. But also, there's another rare game that's in somewhere called the Empyrean Way. I'm not really sure where that... Nah, we're not at the Empyrean Way yet. But it requires the in-game timer to be between 10 and 20 minutes. And where are we right now? 8. We might actually be making good time for it, provided we get through these next few areas quickly enough. It just depends on where the Empyrean Way is. I'm not entirely sure which one of the areas is the Empyrean. I was like, I'm gonna walk into it next, aren't I? Okay, I'll go through here anyway, but then I might have to leave and come back in order to make it spawn. This is a good place to chain wolf-type enemies, though. There were some werewolf ones in the previous screen that I don't know if they probably would kill the chain. I don't know if they actually count as wolves or not, or if they're still considered part of like the beast family, so maybe they do count. I don't know. I do like how both his steal command still goes off, even if the enemy like goes out of 100% HP before the command executes, because he still started the command, so he'll still finish it. Where are we at now? Oh, okay, it's a pretty small area. At least this side of it. And this area looks kind of perpetually overcast. I think I know where that would lead, though. That seems to lead into that central area we got a preview of via the hunts. So, something else I could mention about the Highwaste is that there's an optional Esper in here. I'm not going to go for it just yet, though. I'm going to save that for maybe my second optional Esper spree. Because it's quite strong for this point in the game. I think it's like in the level 50s or something. I mean, technically the things we fought were like around the mid-40s, but this one's a bit stronger. Okay, we're definitely going to... Well, we already killed our chain because of the Slave and Wilder, but there are some golems over there, so they're going to definitely kill the chain. Nice block there, Varn. Yeah, I do kind of like the way that golems look in this game, although I doubt Varn's going to be doing much damage with his deck. Yeah, no. And even Arrow is probably not really doing a ton. Okay, they actually hit decently hard, and this party is lacking in any kind of really solid healers, so I'm going to preemptively go for a Cura on everyone. Wild Charge, it's using an electric move, I guess. They use Arrow, but they're also weak to it. And something tells me that Firer is probably going to do more against these than Arrow is. Oh, there's a Chocobo over there. I think this place does have some secret Chocobo... Yeah, it's doing a little bit more than Arrow. Does have some secret Chocobo paths. Look, it's an NPC Chocobo. So that's interesting to note. Looks like we can't get anywhere from here. The style of like graphics from the rocks here looks pretty cool. It almost looks like they're painted in a way. But as you can see, like, we can keep climbing higher, and at the very top of this peak, which is totally optional, that's where the Esper is. Where are we? Oh, where our timer is at the right time. So, although there is always the possibility that it's in the other part of the Empyrean Way. And guess what? I can't even get to that part of the Empyrean Way yet. We have to access a certain later area before that becomes accessible. But in here, Shrine of the Southeast Winds. So yeah, these shrines, I think you need to activate them in order to reach the Esper. Boulders. Yeah, I'm guessing you can't knock down the boulders without it, if you're riding a Chocobo, I mean. Shrine of the East Winds. Oh, that just makes me think of Sherlock. So, what they're hinting at is that after a certain point in the story, the flow of water underground does change, and that's what lets you access these mechanisms in the shrines. But for now, we can't really do that. The Hunter's Camp on the Fon Coast actually opens up some other stuff for us regarding rare game. So you guys ran into basically a thief horse. You now need to hunt for Braig. The hunt for Zigbar begins, I guess. Northwest of the Salika Wood, pretty close to the Necrol. Yeah, you can access the Necrol of Nabudis through the Salika Wood. Complete opposite direction of the Fon Coast. Well, that's just kind of a thing with this game. Often you end up in the exact opposite than the direction you were supposed to be headed in. Okay, we do have access to some better weapons now. I haven't used daggers for so long. On-hit Berserk. That's a double-edged sword. A very serious double-edged sword. Also, I haven't used maces in ages, but I'm liking Fran's bows. I don't know if that buffs the power of anything in particular. Yes, the goggles do actually do something in this game. They do protect your eyes. Immune Blind is actually very good for most physical attackers. These are a little bit expensive. The Black Cowl and the Black Garb, I think, are very much staples of Final Fantasy games. Balthier can use those, but Barsh can't. That's weird. Immune Earth. That might be useful in some areas. Immune Petrify, Immune Confuse. Then we have some other things we've already had before. Eroga and Vanishka. Okay, Vanishka's not great, but... I said Ero was showing its age earlier. Now, is there anything decent I could sell? We did get something new in the bazaar out of this. Back Harness. Okay, that's disturbing. What is this? I want to find out. Yeah, I had a feeling it would be just a battle harness. Not great, but I mostly did it just for the selling. The problem is that Balthier's gun is actually quite good against enemies in this area, but I suppose I'll keep that for later. I would also really like a goggle mask. I'll take that on Varn for now. But I would like more of those, definitely. I found one of these, or got it from a quest somehow. Pretty strong for Varn, actually. On-hit Immobilize, not the best thing in the world, but not terrible. While we're here, the giant stone bow. I love the way this bow looks. I'm not going to use it because I think the burning bow is better, but you basically have the character running around with a giant slab of stone strapped to their back, and it's pretty funny. But anyway, I kind of want to get some more of these. Oh, actually, no, Barsh will never be able to use that, unfortunately, but I can give that to Balthier. That will lower his strength quite a bit, but I'm mostly using guns on him for now. I suppose I could take that for Varn, although he has the Viking coat, which makes him immune to water. Well, I'll grab that for the moment. I have more money now because I sold a lot of my old stuff. And increases speed as well as magic. That's pretty good. Oh, that's actually worse than what Ash had before. But it's objectively better than what Penelo had before, so I'll take that. Maybe Balthier can take the diamond armor if Barsh can't. It's a pretty big defense boost and also raises vitality. That would raise evasion in addition to giving Varn a new immunity. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that. And Black Cowl on Ash for more magic resist. Also, I found out by looking at licenses that Fran can't actually use Eroga, and Ash is 2 LP away from being able to get the license for it. Oh yeah, well, we've actually been sent to kill that thing, so things are gonna be good news for you. I do like how they actually give a lot of sort of, not so much backstory, but like actual sort of character and world building to a lot of the hunts. Oh, and the lines here are gonna bring up something, well, yeah, something that a lot of people talk about this game that I want to kind of go into because I find it sort of annoying, and let's register this gate crystal. I've been on the road for about 20 minutes already. Oh, I had a feeling there'd be some naps here. That's an expensive nap. Wow, I am glad that I still had some money left over from that shopping spree. I doubt our location map is actually complete. Also, yes, remember this, because that giant bomb is going to be a fight later on. But we have here... Yeah, actually not all that, much left to go here. Rays of Ashen Light. What's that? Empyrean Seat. That, I believe, is where the optional Esper is. And in fact, we can kind of see, like, the path that would lead up there, but there's this big slab of rock in the way. We can't do anything about that yet, and I'm not going to really do anything about that for a while, but this Esper that's here is actually somewhat, it sticks in my mind a little bit because it's the Esper that represents the star sign of Libra, which is my star sign. I've also, I don't know why, I might talk about this more when we actually fight the Esper, but, how do you get to Arcadia? What are scouts? Well, you see, scouts are a unit in Age of Empires 2 that you start with that helps you explore the map. So yeah, the Salika Wood's the only way to Arcadia. But yeah, I've always just found Libra was just so much less cool than the other star signs. It's like, oh, scales, you know, as opposed to a scorpion or a lion or an archer. It's just like, or like the god of war. It's just like, come on. Scales, really? I always used to just get annoyed at my own star sign like that. But anyway, you'll see whether or not the Libra Esper lives up to the what I feel inherent lameness of it is. Python. We're fighting this very soon after we fought a killer rabbit. But anyway, the thing about that whole, oh, I don't see many people traveling on foot these days. Oh, it's a vulture. It's literally just a vulture. There are a lot of people at this... Oh, Varn can't even hit that thing. But I think you actually can hit flyers with katanas. Though I could be wrong about that. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm hitting. I think it has to be something like spears or other things. So Varn is... Actually, let's take Varn out and switch in Penelo. Of all people. I'm actually going to have her try and, like, fight this thing directly with a crossbow because it's surprisingly powerful. But there's a lot of people at this point in the game who are just like, oh, you know... Oh, Fran's, fire spells are probably worse due to the rain, but oh well. Are like, oh, you know... Why can't they just take an airship to Arcades? Why do you have to walk through all these really long and big areas on foot? And, oh, this part of the game is so annoying and just so stupid and ugh. I'm exaggerating there, but like for some reason TV Tropes has this obsession with bashing on this part of the game. Really? Of course, we find the armor that we bought in a chest later because RPGs. That's always how things work in RPGs. Don't you ever tell me otherwise. But there's a lot of people who are like, oh, this section is just pointless padding. Because you just have to trek through a lot of really long areas that are admittedly kind of scenery. Pretty scenery, but, okay, I'm guessing that's like a thief or something who was just trying to attack us. Pretty sure that wasn't a friendly NPC. If it was, I'm sorry that we may have antagonized you, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a friendly NPC. Can Penelo knock this down with a cross? Yes, she can. Penelo causes an entire rock slide with a crossbow. You just have to know the right spot to aim at, I guess. And that opens up a path back down there. But it's just... I don't know, it's just kind of strange that a lot of people obsess over just bashing this part of the game, when in the story itself, they actually point out that they can't use the airship. Like, it's outright justified, because Arcades is on high alert for the Rosarian Empire, and Balthia's airship would be known to them. So if we tried to fly the Stahl in there, we would get caught, and we would get slaughtered. It's exactly the same as the whole, oh, why didn't they just fly the Eagles into Mordor thing? Because, you know, obviously, they would get detected by Sauron and slaughtered. The whole point of the ring quest was to get the ring into Mount Doom without Sauron noticing, because he literally needs that ring to live. If he realized people were trying to destroy it, he would unleash his full might against them, and he has a lot of forces, a lot of magical power on his side. So obviously, the method that would draw attention is not the method that they really should be using. It's exactly the same logic here. It's like, oh yeah, we can't really use the ports either. If we tried a commercial airship, again, they know us by now, they would easily catch us. There is one element of this criticism that I can't quite mention yet, But once it does come up, then I will talk about it. I do think this one is at least somewhat valid, but it just still, like, and again, like, why? Okay, I do get that we just went through a quote-unquote epic quest. We just went through Goldmore Jungle, the Paramina Rift, all that stuff to get over to Mount Bur Omisex. We already go through that, so I can kind of understand why some people will be a bit weary of, you know, these whole epic quests and, like, traveling on foot through a whole lot of really big areas to get to another major part of the game. But this was always, and I knew that was Adamos, this was always my favorite part of Final Fantasy XII. I've been really looking forward to this part because, yeah, this is actually my favorite part of the game. Before we antagonize that, though, I'm going to try and buff up first. Also, something tells me that thing's weak to wind, so I might as well license Ash for Eroga before we head in. And upgrade. Okay, buffs are go. Let's head in here. And step one, I'm going to try and slow this. I should also probably try and, Tanned Giant Skin. Okay, then, well, we do have slow on it. Now let's, or did we already dispel? No, we didn't, okay. And it's got Protect Shell and Regen. Yeah, you usually want to dispel Regen because the majority of enemies that have Regen have so much HP that the percentage regeneration really, is quite dangerous. Okay, what is... Oh, she does have Charge, so her MP is technically infinite. Oil, Decoy, Drain. I mean, I can try and see if if oil works, but it's probably not going to. Which is kind of bad. And it's casting its buffs again. I'm going to wait until it actually does regen. I'm going to cast any more buffs? Nope. Okay, now I can dispel. You often have to dispel quite a lot in this game because enemies do like casting buff spells. Oh, I knew you'd try and cast Protect eventually, and it would happen like right after I dispelled you. So you know what? Dispel again. It's funny that I'm getting so much mileage out of Dispel in this game, and yet in Persona 4, an RPG I played on this channel before this, despite buffs and debuffs being very good in that game, I just didn't really find myself using Dekaja very much in that game. I kept on Yosuke for a while because it's useful against Shadow Kanji because of his Heat Riser on one of his flunkies, but I don't think that guy ever... Okay, I think these guys only heal themselves once, usually. But I almost wonder if, Fran's like running low on MP. I have a slight idea here. I might have been able to berserk this thing before and stop it from healing. Power Stun. That doesn't sound good. I'm gonna try and berserk again. I'm not sure if it's immune to this or not. Berserk does not seem to be working. Not even really sure what this thing is weak to, and yeah, Fran's MP is like pretty much done. Also, it's using Spin Kick over and over. So, some like Hunt Monsters and other powerful enemies get attack charge time 0 when they're on low HP, which exactly what it says on the tin. It makes their attacks have no charge time. But there we go. That thing was more of an HP sponge than actually a real threat. I've liked a lot of the other hunts that I was doing in the side quest episodes, like the Mind Flayer. That thing had very low HP, but a lot of interesting tricks to make up for it. That was... oh... Yes, the game really wanted me to show this, so... Here's what the giant stone bow looks like. I love this. It's just this huge slab of rock that you just carry on your back. I don't even know how that works as a functional bow, but it just looks really funny to me. Burning bow is, well, it's not way better, it's slightly better, but still, it buffs fire attacks, and that's a better effect for me than the giant stone bow. Oh, got disable on it with Nello's bolts there. That's kind of nice. Alright, we need to go back to Nalbina Fortress to report that hunting. That's a little unfortunate, since that's like the exact opposite of the direction we're supposed to be going in, but hey, that's what happened to the merchant caravan anyway. And yeah, here we are. Right here is the entrance to the Salika Wood. But anyway, I do just really like this part of the game. Going through a few more big areas, and that's really just kind of the essence of FF12 to me. This is a game about large, beautiful areas I mean, I will admit, like, there's not a ton of, like, super, you know, exploration, like, deep exploration or anything, because the areas are, like, not, like, super detailed in terms of, like, overall map design, but they're pretty large. They have nice varieties of enemies to them. There's a decent amount of ways that you can go through them, and I do like how they actually give you multiple options to get through certain areas. For example, you could have gone in here through the Dalmasca Easter Sand, and I also love how, like, I guess I can, while I'm on the way back there, I can just say this. Nalbina Fortress, or Nalbina Town. This, I would say this is technically the first time in the story you need to go there, but as I was saying, you don't even need to go there. You can get to the Mosphoran Highwaste via the Easter Sand. In fact, you could feasibly never even go to Nalbina Town at all. I think someone is leveled up here, but I didn't notice it. And it's just kind of cool how you have the option to access that town early, and it has some pretty good stuff for early in the game if you do get to it at that point. But on the other hand, you know, you're never actually required to go there, and even though it's the most convenient way to the Highwaste now, it's not necessary that you get to the Highwaste that way. It's just some RPGs that came out later than this game, even though they do technically have more openness in their areas, the order that you go through the areas in is actually much more rigid, and the areas aren't nearly as interconnected either. It's just like one big area leads to another big area. And I can stop playing coy here and just say that I am talking about Xenoblade this time. Again, like, Xenoblade Chronicles is amazing, but playing through it a second time in Definitive Edition, I have realized that it's not actually like a super open game. It's a very, very level-based progression game that happens to have very big levels. Whereas this one is somewhat similar, but again, there's actually a little bit more freedom in the way that you go through areas. Like, you can cut through the Feywood to get to the Paramina Rift without having to fight a certain boss. And the areas are much more interconnected. Like, if you look at, like, the world map right now, you can see here this place is connected to 2 different areas. All of these areas here just kind of loop around and have a lot of connections between them. And then even down here, you've got stuff like Golmore Jungle having 4 different areas connected to it. So anyway, I think at this point I'm just going to spare you the... I'm not even going to waste a teleport stone. I'm just going to maybe even grab that chocobo and just head back. I want to at least turn in that hunt now. Oh right, you actually need some of those greens. Oh, so this time the werewolf spawned here. The rock beast is dead, peasants. I have set your caravans free. Oh yeah, this is one of the ones that influenced the Jovi quest. Yeah, we'll learn what his deal is the more of these Nalbina Fortress hunts we complete. And with that, I think I'll leave you for now, and we'll be heading into the Salika Wood next time. See you then.